The train hissed and wheezed like a dying beast, then stilled under the white blaze of the desert sun. Nobody stepped off. Nobody was waiting, except her. She stood alone at the edge of the platform, barefoot, skin sunburned, one cheek bruised purple. Her long black hair hung in knots, dust clinging to her like a second skin. A faded shawl was wrapped around her shoulders, more for modesty than warmth. Her eyes, black, sharp, unblinking, stared past the tracks, past the desert, toward something that wasn't there anymore. The conductor glanced at her once, then looked away. Behind her, the station building leaned like a drunk in the heat. Flies buzzed at the corners. An old man rocked in a chair, chewing tobacco, saying nothing. Folks nearby watched her like she might turn wild and bite. They whispered, "Comanche, where's her tribe? Looks beat near to death. No man come for her. Nope, no one comes to this damn station." She didn't flinch at the whispers, didn't move. Her eyes stayed on the horizon, waiting for something. Then he came, a soundless shadow over gravel and sun. Holt Bannister, riding a coal-colored horse too big for sense. He wore a duster that dragged behind him like it was stitched from storms, wide hat pulled low, face hidden beneath a beard that had more silence than years. His arms, thick as fence posts, didn't move when he stopped 10 feet from her. The murmurs started again. "Jesus, that's him. Holt Bannister. Heard he don't talk no more. Don't need to." She turned, slow and stiff, as if her bones had splintered days ago. Looked at him. Holt looked back. Time sagged in that moment. Then he spoke. One sentence. Low, rough as gravel. "You're coming with me." No plea. No explanation. No offer. She stared at him like weighing a cliff's edge, then nodded once, barely. The station watched as she walked toward him. He reached down and pulled her up behind his saddle like she weighed nothing at all. She didn't speak, didn't cry. The horse turned. No one stopped them. No one dared. The train screamed once more and rumbled away, kicking dust like ghosts in retreat. The old man in the rocking chair spat in the dirt. "Well, reckon there's a story in that," he said to no one. And by the time the wind blew through, both Holt Bannister and the Comanche woman were gone, riding into a silence older than memory. The wind screamed through the hollow like it remembered something awful. Holt's horse stood still at the edge of the bluff, snorting, ears twitching toward the mesa's jagged heart. The sky above boiled red with dust, the sun half dead behind it. Below, the hollow yawned open, a wound in the desert, scattered with blackened scrub and bones that hadn't yet settled. The Comanche woman slid down from the saddle before Holt could stop her. She walked ahead, barefoot still, stepping over cracked earth as if it meant something. Her eyes were locked on the center of the hollow, where a single stone cross leaned sideways in the dirt. Charred, split by bullets. Nothing else marked the ground, but the silence there was thick, like even the wind had too much respect to speak. Holt dismounted, boots crunching behind her. He didn't speak. She reached across and dropped to her knees, dug her fingers into the earth. It wasn't grief that shook her shoulders. It was rage, quiet, controlled, ancient. She whispered something in Comanche, then louder. They burned them. Holt's jaw tightened. The duster flapped in the wind like a dying bird. He stared past her, past the hollow, remembering something worse than fire. "Soldiers?" he finally asked. She nodded. "Bluecoats?" he asked again. This time, she looked up. "No. Men like you. Greed in their eyes. Badges. Smoke wagons." One laughed. Holt took off his hat and let the wind take it. His scalp was scarred beneath. A line ran across it. Knife or bullet. Long healed. Long forgotten. They were running, she said. Mothers. Sisters. Girls. Her hand found a necklace buried in the soil. She pulled it up, beads melted, string ash. "They made us watch." Holt crouched beside her, reached for the necklace, paused. His hand hovered, fingers twitching, then drew back. "What do they look like?" he asked. She glanced sideways at him, suspicious. "One had a gold tooth," she said. Kept turning it with his tongue. Holt stood, turned, looked toward the west, where the land folded into canyons and cattle trails. "You know where they are?" she asked. He nodded once. "They took your family?" she pressed. He didn't answer. but his silence was loud. Behind them, the wind died suddenly. The hollow went still. And for one perfect second, even the sky above the red mesa looked like it was holding its breath. She rose slowly. "Then we go together," she said. He turned, looked at her, really looked this time. "You ever shot a man?" he asked. She didn't blink. "You ever seen one beg?" A faint smile touched her lips. "Yes," she said. He bled through his teeth. The sun broke apart on the canyon rim, spilling rust over the desert like blood in water. They came silent through the dusk, two riders, shadows on horseback, drifting between cottonwoods and dry riverbed. Holt in front, the Comanche woman behind, a Winchester strapped to her back now, her shawl replaced by a dead man's coat. Dust clung to them like old sins. A campfire cracked ahead. Voices. Laughter. 5 men around it, greedy-eyed, smoke-throated, armed like they expected trouble and hoped it came slow. One stirred a pot of beans. Another cleaned his pistol with spit and a torn sleeve. One wore a star on his vest. Another had a gold tooth. She saw it shine in the firelight. Her fingers flexed against the rifle sling. Holt raised a hand. They stopped behind a ridge of broken stone. The wind stirred dry sagebrush and ash. "That's them," she whispered. He nodded. "You sure?" She looked at the man with the tooth. Her voice was flat as stone. He smiled while my sister screamed. Holt dismounted. "Quiet. Careful." He drew the shotgun from the saddle holster, cracked it open, checked both shells, snapped it shut. "You want the first shot?" he asked. She unslung the Winchester and dropped to her knees in the dust. "I want the last one." Down by the fire, the men kept laughing. One of them stood to piss in the dark, turning just enough to glimpse movement on the ridge. He froze. "Hey," he started. The first blast hit him square in the chest. Holt's shotgun roared like thunder, splitting the world. The man flew back into the fire, limbs twitching. Chaos erupted. Another reached for his pistol, but the Comanche woman's shot hit his thigh and dropped him howling. Holt advanced, slow and deliberate, firing once more, point blank, into the man with the badge. The one with the gold tooth scrambled backward, hands up, eyes wide. Wait, I didn't." The woman stepped forward. Her voice shook the dusk. "You laughed." She raised a rifle. He reached for his holster. He wasn't fast enough. The shot echoed off the canyon walls, and his body slumped beside the fire, his tooth catching the flame one last time. Silence returned. No more screaming. No more laughter. Just wind and smoke and death. Holt reloaded calmly. She stood staring at the bodies like they weren't real, like the fire might burn the past clean if she watched long enough. "You all right?" he asked. She didn't answer. Then, "It's not enough," she said. He nodded. "No, it ain't." And together, they mounted up again. Two ghosts riding through a desert where names didn't matter and the dead never stayed buried. The sky cracked open over Red Mesa. Lightning with no storm. Thunder with no clouds. Holt stood at the edge of the hollow, boots buried in ash, eyes on the place where the wind once refused to speak. But now it howled, low, deep like breath through broken teeth. She stood beside him, rifle slung, hair tangled by the gust. Blood stained her sleeve. "Not hers." "We did it," Holt muttered. "All of them." The hollow didn't care. It just stared back. She walked forward. Same steps. Same spot. Cross still crooked. The earth disturbed now, new prints, old ghosts. She knelt and placed the melted necklace where it had been. "They know," she said. "The ones below." They heard the shots. Something moved behind them. A coyote stepped from the ridge. Alone. Watching. Then another. Then 3 more. Silent. Patient, like they'd been summoned by fire and justice. Holt turned. Hand near his holster. Then paused. "They ain't here for us." She nodded. The hollows speaking again. The wind picked up, hot, bitter, full of voices that never got to finish their last sentence. The air shimmered above the dirt. Shadows twisted in the stone. The coyotes circled the hollow once, then vanished into the brush like sentries relieved of duty. "What now?" Holt asked, his voice quieter than before. She stood. "Now they rest. And we ride." "Ride where?" Her eyes locked on the horizon. The badge men weren't alone. Others paid them, hid them, fed their fire. He nodded. Worn fingers curled around the shotgun. That mean we keep going? It means the hollow's not the only place that needs to speak. She looked once more at the graveyard with no markers, just ashes and memory. The wind died. The silence returned, but this time it wasn't empty. It was satisfied. A faint rumble echoed in the distance. Not thunder. Hoofs. Holt looked west. Dust rose from the canyon trail. 5, maybe 6 riders. Badges gleaming. Not ghosts. Not stories. Men with orders. You ready? He asked her. She pulled a rifle from her back. Checked the chamber. Clicked it shut with a sound that echoed like a drumbeat through the hollow. I was born ready, she said. He grinned for the first time in days. Good, 'cause I reckon the hollow just told us who's next. And when the riders crested the rise, they didn't see 2 survivors. They saw 2 legends standing in the dust, weapons raised, backs to the bones of the past, and the wind screaming like it wanted vengeance too.